Hi, everybody. It's Stacy Sobel with Salon Today Conversations, and today we have a treat. I have a psychologist and the founder of Q4 Consulting, Dr. Chris Johnson. And Dr. Johnson, you have a new book that's going to be debuting in July called The Leadership Pause.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, the book or the pause or both?
The book, I guess.
The book.
We're going to get
The
into
book.
this.
Yeah. Well, let me just show you here. The Leadership Pause is a book that I spent the last couple of years writing. I ended up writing the book as a result of my own need to pause about a decade or so ago. And that's kind of where the idea was born, is that if we all, in our own capacity as leaders, and leaders aren't just positional leaders, they're all of us who want to lead an effective life. If we all took a pause, how much better the world would be. And so that's really, and there's a lot more to unpack there, but that's really why I wrote the book. And that's what the Leadership Pause is about.
Now, we were doing a little chatting before we started the interview, and your mom is a hairdresser, so you have a unique insight into our readers' world. But talk a little bit about, you say that the pause is simple, but not always easy. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a really useful phrase. So all of us lead such busy lives these days, and there's so much press to get more done with less time, to look really good, have great hair, present really well, all of that. And we're juggling all kinds of plates. So to begin to actually practice a pause is a good idea. There's a lot of physical and mental and emotional reasons that a pause is good for us, our health-wise, but it's difficult and to do. So it's simple, it's not easy, because it's so much easier to get caught up in the day-to-day. It's so much easier to be on that treadmill and really then find ourselves complaining, like, how do I get off of this? Like, I really need a break, but I don't know how to take one. And so what I talk about in the book is how to take on the deliberate, intentional practice of pausing. And then I describe various kinds of pauses that one can take. So it's simple in concept. It's not easy in practice because life happens and most of us get caught up in it. Yeah.
And you say it's a physical and a mental activity. Kind of talk us through what that means.
Yeah. Well, so we breathe, right? We're mammals, we're human mammals, we breathe, and we can breathe consciously. Like I could say, Stacy, let's take a breath together. And I do that when I teach some folks. But, if we don't think about it, our breath happens naturally. We're breathing. Right. The same is true with a pause. So we can pause consciously, but even in the course of daily life, we periodically take pauses, or we find ourselves waiting, or we're at the stoplight, or we're in the stylist chair, and there's a little bit of opportunity to do, quote unquote, nothing. So those are kind of more organic pauses. So what I'm advocating here is that when we intentionally take a pause, and that could be 30 seconds, a minute or so, could be a day, there's different kinds of pauses, that what we can do is benefit from the physical aspects of taking a pause, which is the equivalent of putting on the brakes when there's the gas going all the time, the gas of life pushing and pressing. And then with the pause, we're effectively putting on a brake. What happens in the body, in the brain, is that our chemicals shift and we can start to chill a little bit. And when we chill, we feel it, like, oh, that feels really good. But it also means that our mind's clear, we can have greater clarity of thought, and we have more access to resources like creativity, connecting with other people, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And you say it also reduces stress, which makes good sense.
Yeah.
What is the difference between triggers and a mindful pause?
Yeah. For any of your listeners who've ever been driving, and you have knucklehead drivers, or you have kids and they, interrupt you unimpeded, or just the stuff of daily life, we get triggered. And what that means is we have a physiological reaction. that's often very quickly an emotional reaction to, oh my God, or I'm feeling angry or hurt or anxious. And when we're triggered, we're taken out of the moment. So instead of just being here with you, having a conversation, if I got an emergency call, oh my God, it's something, I'm out, right? And I'm not as present with you. We think of triggers as kind of big, and sometimes they are, but often they're very, very subtle. And so they take us out of the moment, and the pause is the way to bring us back into the moment. So did I answer your questions? Oh yeah, my triggers and a mindful pause. So a mindful pause is that intentional, I'm going to bring myself back so that I can be in the conversation with Stacy, or attend to my child, or simply be present at the stoplight and not be a screaming Mimi. There you have it.
I've been there.
Okay, we
I
all
think we've
have.
all
We
been.
all have. Yeah, we sure have.
So all authors, I think, want their readers to come away with something useful. What is the big takeaway you hope your readers come away with from reading your book?
The big takeaway that I hope my readers would have is that in the kind of craziness of the world that we're living in now, that our reactions are normal. So if you're having some reactions, that's normal. And that there's something that each of us can do to work with ourselves, to be more present, have greater clarity, be less stressed, so we can enjoy life and also make our difference. So whether that means serving clients really well, or customers, whatever that means. So it's normal if you're reacting. There's ways to work with it, and the pause is the way to start. That's what I'd want people to know.
So, and then you talked about there are different ways to take that mindful pause. What are some everyday strategies that people could implement into their daily lives?
That's a really great question. Some strategies would be, first of all, to experiment and commit to, I'm going to do this intentional pause thing on purpose. I'm going to just do this for a little bit. I'm a big fan of experimenting. So on a daily basis, like I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth, and I'm going to just take a simple breath and pause and notice that I'm brushing my teeth. Because we can go through this whole routine without really knowing that we're brushing our teeth, kind of thing, right? So really being present. So picking something, teeth, or having your coffee, or a walk with your dog. So a normal daily activity that you can bring mindful pausing to. The second thing is you could set up some times during the day, like maybe a break at 10, a lunchtime break, something at the end of the day, and just take 30 seconds to pause and check in with yourself. How was that? Those kind of integrated daily practices that don't take a lot of time can really provide the reset from a stress point of view, because all of those, it takes only, Stacy, this is really important for your listeners to know. Once we intentionally say, I'm going to take a pause, it takes us only about 60 to 90 seconds to let the stress hormones that get going, to let them settle. And what's useful about knowing that is, in about a minute and a half, can you tolerate that so that you can get more clear-headed about what you need to do from the end of the workday to the beginning of the evening, let's say. If we don't take that pause, we kind of rush right into it. And then before you know it, there's something else going on in the evening. There's maybe a blow up at home or something less than comfortable. And we just feel more and more stressed versus, oh, if I did a reset for a minute or a minute and a half, I'm going to have a lot more access to all the things that I do well and what I really care about as a employee, an owner, a parent, whatever it is. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And it reminds me a little bit of meditating. It seems like it's a practice you probably have to practice.
You do. You definitely have to practice. Yes.
And that you get better at.
Yes. It's like a muscle. You're developing that muscle.
And when I try to meditate, the hardest part is getting to that place where you're not thinking anymore, where you shut the brain down.
Yes, where we're not necessarily caught up in our thoughts. So
Right.
this is very much influenced. I've been teaching mindfulness meditation for almost 25 years. And so certainly elements of that are here in the pause. And the beauty of this work is that it's actually really simple. but it does have to be practiced. So we want to be intentional and deliberate about it. And when you are, you will see the fruits of that in over time, but you got to do it for a little while. Yeah. But picking things that you can marry something to, like you already brush your teeth or have your coffee or eat your breakfast. And so start small, keep practicing, talk to somebody about it. Those would be great ways to start.
We love it. I can't wait to dig in. And your book is released, I believe, July 12th. Is
Yes.
that correct? And where
July
can
12th.
where can our audience find it?
Yeah, well, if you go onto Amazon, you can just check out the Leadership Pause and you'll find it right there. It's already up and ready to go. I am going to have a 99 cent Kindle ebook sale the first week of the launch. So that would be the 11th through the 15th or whatever. So folks can go there and get it for 99 cents. That would be great if you read it on Kindle. Otherwise, you can buy the hard copy. There will also be an audiobook coming out shortly. Hopefully that'll be up on launch day. We'll see if that's the case.
Great. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining us. And
Mhm.
we can't wait to start pausing.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Stacey. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Hope
you.
your listeners are up for pausing. Have a great weekend.
Sure they will be. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.